Good morning, candidates. India's Prime Minister uses the G20 summit to advertise his global reach and court voters at home. So this is because, in every interview nowadays, they are asking about G20 meeting. So I thought I should tell you some of the points which I have come across. Major roads in New Delhi are teeming with giant posters and billboards announcing India's presidency of this week's summit of the group of 20 nations. And one leader's picture, smiling benignly from every traffic circle, stands out from the rest. Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Modi is also on the front page of major newspapers and Indian TV channels, or flashing his picture accompanied by the Hindi words Vishwa Guru, a leader of the world. In public speeches, his ministers are touting him as a steward of a surging India. It is an unabashed homage to the populist Prime Minister and staunch Hindu nationalist, who is celebrated by his supporters and by his party as someone who is leading a developing nation of more than 1.4 billion people to a bright new future. But this advertising blitz also displays the personal ambitions of Modi, who in the past has used the optics of New Delhi growing geopolitical clout and foreign policy triumphs to consolidate power. Experts say, while India's presidency of the summit represents a moment of pride for the country, Modi's government has also used it to market the leader's image and elevate his party's prospects ahead of a national vote scheduled for next year. Mr. Modi is positioning himself as a global statesman and a global thought leader and the voice of a rising India. And all of this, I believe, is designed to feed into the Modi personality cult, which is a very expertly created, very well marketed cult, designed to appeal to a demographic which will be very swayed by these promises of rising India, said Sagarika Ghosh, a political analyst. The September 9 to 10 summit, which groups the world's 19 wealthiest countries, plus the European Union, is particularly important for Modi ahead of the 2024 election, and a strong show will allow his ruling Hindu nationalist party to project power domestically. Ahead of the summit, historical monuments, airports, and major landmarks are projecting this year's G20 logo, an image of a globe inside a lotus, using the colors of the Indian flag. The opposition says it is no coincidence that lotus is also the election symbol of Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party. Indian officials have also conducted events showcasing India's contributions to the world, including yoga and a highly successful government-run digital transactions system. Schools have been told to hold quiz competitions regarding the G20, and Modi himself, during his periodic radio talk show called Man Ki Baat, or Straight from the Heart, said the month of September is going to witness the potential of India. Meanwhile, his ministers have made it clear that Prime Minister is to be credited for the summit. If G20 has come to the country during his time and it is completed with success, then he must get the credit. His powerful Home Minister, Amit Shah, told a wire service in February. The rotating presidency of the G20 is mostly symbolic of the summit success, often depends on a final communique. This time, however, none of the several meetings held in India has yet produced one, with a deadlock persisting over wording on Russia's war in Ukraine. Nonetheless, The Modi government has gone into high gear, promoting India as a bridge to the developing world and arguing it is well placed to tackle issues of climate change, terrorism, and the debt crisis. His administration is also highlighting India's position as a growing power courted by a major Western countries, particularly after a US President Joe Biden's state visit in June. Along the way, Modi government has also presented him as the man responsible for India's economic successes, including its advancements in solar power, digital payments technology, and its recent feat of making a successful uncrewed landing near the south polar region of the moon, which is seen by Indians as a major foreign policy triumph. India's foreign policy has seen significant strides under Modi, but he remains a divisive figure at home, with critics calling him an enabler of assaults on India's democratic and religious freedoms and its independent institutions. And even though the government has managed to finely balance its position on Russia's war in Ukraine, the resurgent opposition says it has done very little to counter the belligerent China after a border dispute between two Asian powers led to deadly clashes in 2020. Still, Modi enjoys massive popularity among his supporters, who see him as a leader taking India to the global stage. This is the first time the world has come to know that India can take a stand for herself. India will do what is in the interest of India, said Ajay Sahai Jasra, a media professional who is a Modi voter. Milan Vaishnav, director of South Asia program at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, said the transition that Modi is trying to effect is to turn India into a big and important country, making an important shift in the nature of domestic politics in India. I do think there is a general sense among the populace that India is reclaiming an important leading role on the global stage, Vaishnav said. Candidates, this has come in apnews.com. I will give the link of this in the video's comments column so that people can read that also. This is a free page only. Thank you so much. Best wishes. Are Baba, I think it is going on.